You're an absolute gem. Thank you for clicking on my Storytime series. I'm Brooke Makenna, and this is one of my 16 days of Halloween where I'm posting every other day this month. But today's video is going to be how my cat is my deceased grandmother. I know. It's a little weird, and I'm so scared to make this video because I feel like I'm definitely 100% going to be judged for it. And that's okay. You can think I'm a little crazy. You can think that I'm exaggerating, dramatic, but it is something that I'm not sure what's happening, but there are some odd things happening that I want to talk about and that have happened for quite a while. And I just want to kind of share with you guys and get your guys' opinion, see what you think about the whole my cat is the reincarnated soul of my grandma. I'm not sure, but if this sounds like an interesting story that you would like to hear, please continue watching. If not, you don't have to. Please don't feel like you have to. There will be another video in 2 days that I'm sure you'll like much better. Yes, I would love your guys' support and hopefully no rude comments down below because I'm really just sharing an experience and opinions, and yeah. So about 3 years ago this month, my grandmother passed away. She was my mother's mother. She actually passed away very suddenly. We had no idea anything was wrong. She was sick for about a month, like flu symptoms wise, so we had no idea that anything else was happening. And then when it got really bad, she went to the hospital and found out she actually had lung cancer. It was only about 2 weeks that we got to spend with her before she passed away. And my grandma had always been one that believed in spirits. She believed in anything creepy, anything different, and I definitely think that that's where I got it from. She believed in otherworldly things, and she didn't really care if she looked crazy to other people, and that's one thing that I wish that I had more of, you know, the lack of fear. Because I mean, she would be in the middle of the restaurant and she would just like, there's a thing at Denny's, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but there's something called the Superbird at the Denny's restaurant, and you're supposed to apparently scream out Superbird and like every time you order it, and she would do that without a care in the world. She literally was fearless, and she had always been a light in my life, and she was just a very eccentric woman, honestly. But she was also the most stubborn, relentless, sassy person I've ever met, and I got a lot of those traits, honestly. But when she wanted something, she was gonna get it. She didn't care what it took to get it. She was sassy as hell, and if you did something that she didn't like, she would just straight up tell you, or she would glare at you and like passive aggressively be like you know what you did, you know. She was a wonderful woman. She was a sassy woman. She was just altogether had that personality that you knew so well. And I wanted to describe that to you because it matters so much to the story. Like I said, she died very suddenly. It was about 2 weeks and she passed, and we all had to say goodbye, and it was kind of something that none of us were expecting, and you can't prepare for that anyway. But when you don't even have time to think about preparing, it's hard to even grieve afterwards because you have no idea what just happened. It's like you were in a whirlwind and then you were thrown out, and you don't even know if that whirlwind actually happened or not until you can't find the things that were swallowed up in it, basically. So after that, we fully figured that my grandma would come back in some way and show us, and like in her ghost form, she would like mess with us somehow. She would come to us in our dreams. That was a huge thing she always talked about. She would come back to us in our dreams. She would speak to us. And actually, my grandma's mom had come back to my mom. I know this is confusing. So my grandma's mom came back to my mom, who was my grandma's daughter, when she passed away, in a dream, and talked to her, and she envisioned her after she passed away. Maybe I'll have her do a story time with me about that sometime, but our family seemed to be very connected as far as dreams. My grandma fully believed that she would come back and talk to us, and told us she would do that. She told us she would haunt us, like she was just that kind of woman that would be like, I'm gonna mess with you for the rest of your life. So weeks and months went by. My dad was going through his heart attack, and we weren't really, up for looking for signs at all. So we didn't really see any, and we kind of wondered, why she didn't come through, why she didn't tell us, she was okay. Then after my dad's heart attack and everything kind of settled down, that is when we started noticing a picture frame that continued to move. And it was one of those just odd things that if you didn't notice it, then it wouldn't, like, it's not a big deal. And if you didn't put it with somebody's death, it would just be something random. But we had this cabinet in our front living room and a picture on top. And it was a family picture of all of us, and it, you know, it was just standing there with nothing else on the thing. And this cabinet was like the heaviest, chunkiest, like sturdiest thing. Like no matter what happened in the house, that cabinet did not move. And so then we started noticing that the picture frame would go from like sitting like this to be like this. And it wasn't even just like a little, like it would just turn. And so we would go up and we would fix it, and after a while it would go back. And that happened for several months, and that was really the only thing that we thought, you know, that's probably mammal doing it to us. That's probably... That is so weird because my cat just started like making noise, and that's who I'm talking about. Oh, that's so weird. Hi. Oh, she just came in the room. So after that, we kind of felt like, okay, she's told us, you know, it's fine. We know she's here. We know, you know, she's okay. And then they kind of stopped for a while. We didn't see it too much. The picture frame didn't move all that often. And then about 6 months after she had passed, I was kind of down in the dumps. I wasn't doing too well mentally, you know, kind of feeling a little bit of depression. And my mom all of a sudden just said, we're going to get you a cat. And I had always loved cats. I'd always wanted a cat, but I was not talking about it. In fact, I was like, that's a lot of responsibility. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like, you know, just like, I didn't know if I could take care of it right at the moment. And my mom was just like, no, we're gonna get a cat for you. You're gonna get a cat. And I was like, oh, okay, mother. And so she was looking online at like the adoption shelters nearby to look for these cats, and we were going through them all, and I found one that I really, you know, loved. It looked adorable, and so we went to this shelter, and that one was in a cage with a few others, and the one that I wanted was black and white, and then there were 2 other ones that were all black. One of the pure black ones just immediately caught my eye, and I completely forgot about the one that I had originally wanted, and I went for this one. And at first, you know, it just kind of came up to me and let me pet it, and then as soon as we opened the gate, it like ran from me. And of course, like, I was chasing it around the room, and like I just felt like this connection, like no matter where it was running, like I was chasing it around the room trying to get it, and like I picked it up, and it like half like cuddled into me, half was like let me down. But I just instantly felt like this is the cat. Like, it's sassy, and it's exactly what I want, the cat. And so we bought the cat, and we put it in the car to take it home, and it screamed the entire time home. It was like in one of those cardboard boxes that you can get, like which has holes in it, of course, from the adoption shelter that you can take it home in when you don't have a cage. It was in there, and the entire time she just, I mean, like, it wasn't even like a cry. It was more like she was trying to like say something to us. And I just remember thinking like, dang, this girl can talk a lot. And so after we'd had her for a while, you know, her personality was developing. She was so sassy. If I didn't give her food in enough time, she would yell at me, like literally like look me in the eyes and start meowing until I went and got her food. And I get that like all cats do this. I mean, all cats are, you know, sassy and stubborn and like are demanding, but it just seemed very personal. And my cat doesn't just like meow. There are so many times, and I wish that I recorded this on video, and if I can record it, I will definitely try to next time. But there are so many times when we will ask her a question, and she will say yes or no. And I'm not kidding. She will say the words plainly enough where you know exactly what she's answering. Like if we think she wants tuna, if she's like meowing and we'll say tuna, she'll say like no. Like, she will literally say the word no. And you guys are gonna think I'm so crazy, but I swear to God. And I don't know if, you know, all cats do this. I've never been around a cat that talks that much. And after we got her, the picture frame moving completely stopped. We had no dreams of her. And it almost seemed like it was because she was in our home. Like, she had reincarnated as this cat to be with us again. Or, you know, I got this cat and then my grandma was like possessed it. I don't know really necessarily how that works, but I don't know, I just felt so strongly, and my entire family, it was just like a joke we had basically when we got this cat, like, dang, she acts a lot like Mama. Like, she's like me in cat form, and my grandma was where I got basically all of my personality traits, besides the, you know, screaming in public and like being fearless and a social sense. And by the way, I named her Katniss, obviously from the Hunger Games. I was a little younger. It's a little weird now to call her Katniss, but that's her name, so that's what I named her. So it'd be like, okay, Katniss, here's some yarn, spell out help or yes or mama, as we called my grandma, if you are my grandma. And of course she didn't do it. I mean, if that would be a freaking miracle, she would have just spelled out mama on the bed. But then at that same time we were telling her, you know, spell it out if you are mama, we just kind of, you know, dropped it, and we were doing something in my mom's closet, like going through something, I don't even remember, but we went into the closet, and it's like a walk-in closet, and there's a whole bunch of like suitcases and bags in there. And I remember Katniss, you know, coming in after us, and I was just like, oh hi, you know, petted her a little bit, and then she just started meowing like crazy. And we could not figure it out. Like, there's no food upstairs, so there was no way she was asking us for food, and she wasn't like looking at us like she wanted to go downstairs. She was just meowing at us and like looking around the room. And then she walks over to the suitcase and begins to paw at it, just crazy, and kept meowing and looking at us and pawing at it. And like, I can't make this up. This was so insane. And I looked at the suitcase that she was pawing at, and it was one things that my grandma gave to me that was hers before. She bought me a lot of things, but this suitcase belonged to my grandma. It was like a jean suitcase with like tan leather like around the edges. She had given that to me like not long before she passed away. And so my mom and I just kind of like looked at each other like, oh my god, like what else could that mean? Like, there are so many other things that she could like paw against, and she's like making such a big scene that she's like pawing against this suitcase. And you may think, okay, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter, and that's fine, but to us it was just kind of like, I mean, that's crazy. Another thing I thought was so weird was that I actually have a picture that I'll probably insert. She would always jump on my head. Not my grandma, the cat. Well, it could be both. But the cat, she would, since she was a baby, she would just crawl up and then all of a sudden like jump on the back of my head with her paws here and like attack it and just sit there like for the longest time. And I couldn't ever figure out, I was like, what the heck is this cat doing? Like, she didn't do it to anybody else, just to me. And she would just kind of like sit there and like hold my head, and she wasn't ever like attacking me. Like, she didn't have like her claws like digging into me. She would just kind of like hold it there. And then I realized actually writing it down for this video, I did my grandma's hair. I'm a cosmetologist, if you don't know, and my grandma would pay me to do her hair and to cut it and to massage it, and that is one place I would put my hands as I was like massaging her head. And that was one thing that she loved so much, was like my massages. Maybe she was like showing me that it was her, and she was like giving me back the favor, maybe like trying to massage my head instead. I don't know. When I thought of that, I was like, that makes so much more sense than her just like wanting to rest on my head so awkwardly. Now, another thing is, my grandma was not a cuddly person, just like isn't one to like want to touch or give hugs that often. And she really, I mean, didn't with me for a while, and up until like a few years before she passed, she would give me like really strong, sturdy hugs. But before then, she just really wasn't that much of a hugger. And some people aren't, and that's okay. Katniss hates hugs. I mean, obviously, cats and dogs like don't necessarily know what a hug is, but if you try to like bring her close to you, she like pushes away with her paws. Like, she will literally, like, if this is you, she'll do this and like do that with her head and like try to push away. Like, she does not like other humans besides me. So my mom doesn't really get much like interaction with her that much, and it was that's kind of how it was when my grandma died. I talked to my grandma more than my mom talked to her mom. But my mom's birthday was back on September 25th, and Katniss actually crawled up on her chest and laid down and like was giving her like a cuddle, like a hug for her birthday, and she never does that. And my dad and then my mom's brother actually said something about like maybe it was Mama wishing you a happy birthday. And like it's literally a running joke in my family. It's not just like me that's like sitting here like, my cat's my grandma. Like it seems like, I don't know. I mean, there's so many little things too. Like my grandma used to like want others to like open the door for her, like, you know, the men in her life like respectfully like open the door for her. And now Katniss, literally, if there's like a door closed or like not open enough for her, she will like yell at me like, open the door and like wait until I do it before she'll like walk in herself, which I just think is hilarious. Another thing is my grandma hated to eat alone, and Katniss will not eat alone. She will come and ask you just like sit down next to her food bowl as she eats, and like will not eat without somebody present in the room with her. But my grandma's birthday was actually in October, so that just passed a few days ago. And that day we didn't really realize it was my grandma's birthday. It would have been, you know, 3 years since she passed, and we before have always, you know, told Katniss jokingly like, happy birthday, Mama, like, and just kind of made it a little deal, like, so Katniss has like Mama's birthday and her actual birthday. And so we would always just like jokingly tell her happy birthday and stuff, and we totally forgot this year. And I noticed that Katniss had been like cranky all day, like she was throwing a fit, like literally meowing anytime that I would walk out of the room, or if I would walk past her and not pet her, she kept like going up to us and like rubbing against our legs and like not leaving us alone. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I tried to like, you know, refill her food bowl. Like I just couldn't make her happy, it seemed. And then my mom said something like, oh, like, do you remember it's Mama's birthday today? I was like, no, like I didn't remember. And then later on she was still doing this, and it didn't put two and two together until like that night, and she was still yelling. And so I walked up to her, I picked her up and sang her happy birthday, like as in sang my grandma, Mama, happy birthday. And she cuddled into me, and as I said, she does not do that often. She like cuddled into me the entire time I was singing. And trust me, like my singing voice isn't the best, and she does not do that when I sing on the regular. It isn't like a calming thing. So like she cuddled into me, and as soon as we were done with the song, I put her down and she was fine. Like she didn't meow at us the rest of the night. That's when I knew I wanted to make this video, because I just feel like that's a lot of like coincidences, if it is, or maybe it's just like a coping mechanism my family and I used because it was such a traumatic, like sudden experience. But either way, I think it's cool to think that my grandma could be with me and could, you know, have been reincarnated to be with our family again. And it's awesome. We were watching Teresa, the medium on, what is it, Long Island Medium, Teresa on TV. And she was like in an audience of people, and that if the spirits came to her, she would talk to the people in the audience about, you know, their deceased loved ones. And my mom and I were just talking, and my mom said, you know, I bet if Mama is not Katniss, she would come to us in one of those things and say, I am not your cat. Because that's just the person she is. She would be like, do you really think I'm your cat? You think I would be reincarnated into a cat? Like, she would be so sassy if she's not. I just think it's a cool story. And if my cat is my grandma reincarnated or possessed by my grandma, then I think that's so cool. You can think I'm crazy, that's fine. So this is the cat I'm talking about. She obviously loves the attention. But yeah, this is Katniss. And oh, I'm telling you, she does not do this all the time. That's crazy. You know I'm talking about you. Oh, it's gonna like bring me to tears. Oh my, there's an actual tear. Oh. Are you Mama? Or am I crazy? Probably both. Okay, you can get down. Good girl. Oh. She's like laying on my lap now. She didn't get down. Oh. This is so weird. She's literally... Oh, let's see if I can show you. She's literally laying on my lap. I'm telling you, like anybody that's been around this cat will tell you that this is not like her to be all cuddly. She's like still there. I don't even know what to do. Like I feel so uncomfortable because she never does this. But I don't know. That's basically my story, you know. Maybe I like to make things out of nothing, but I think if it helps me cope with certain things, I don't think that's a bad thing, especially because it's like not alcohol, it's like cats. So, I mean, at least I'm helping the cats that needed adopting. I'm just trying to like justify me when I have like 95 cats in my house, like just trying to justify it. Please stop me from having 95. So my memory card was just full and I had to change it. And normally, like, if I make any movements, when Katniss, the rare occasion she's near me, she'll move immediately and she's still on my lap. So I don't know, like, I don't want to say this is a sign because I have no idea. And half of you in the comments will probably tell me, you know, reincarnation doesn't exist or all these different things, and that's fine. But I just think this is so strange because she's still there. Like, I'm sitting here talking about her and she's still there. So anyways, I know I don't have much proof for you guys, and I didn't think about, you know, collecting the proof or remembering all the crazy things she's done, because there's so much more that like related to my grandma that she has done, but it's hard to remember those things because you don't ever think you're gonna tell them because people will probably think you're crazy, and that's probably something you should just keep like within the family. But I tell you guys about like crazy crimes all the time, so I figured why not tell you about the fact that my cat may be my grandma. Maybe I'll regret this, but I hope not, and I hope you don't think that I'm completely insane and like don't ever watch my videos again, because I just wanted to tell you about something that I thought was kind of cool. So tell them if you're mammal or not. Tell them I'm not crazy. She went back to lying on my lap. I just can't. I gotta shut off this video because this is just creeping me out too much. Like, I believe that she's my grandma, but like part of me is like just joking about it, but this is like actually creeping me out that she's doing this while I film this video. And that she like walked in here when I was filming it. I'm okay, guys. Like, mentally, I swear I'm okay. But that would probably be something a not mentally okay person would say, so I don't know. I hope you believe me. But anyways, no matter what, don't forget to speak up. Your voice is powerful enough, and I love you to absolute pieces. Okay. Bye.